Hey guys, it's Tim, and this is a brand new Pacific Rim Uprising video for this week. And if you're interested in hearing more Pacific Rim Uprising videos like discussions and background history, you can subscribe to our channel and click the bell next to it so you can be immediately informed when new videos go up. With that said, let's talk about Hannibal Chau, the role played by Ron Perlman in the original Pacific Rim. With the question being, will we see him return in Pacific Rim Uprising? Before we get into that, let's first talk about who Hannibal Chau is. Now, Hannibal Chau is the alias that Ron Perlman's character uses for his black market dealings, with the name coming from the Carthaginian military commander Hannibal Barca, and the Chau part coming from his second favorite Szechuan restaurant in Brooklyn. As of the first Pacific Rim, Hannibal is a black market organ dealer specializing in the various parts of kaiju, sending his team in order to collect various organs and bones and even the body lice of the kaiju who fall during Jaeger battles. Though even before the kaiju attack, he had always been a black market smuggler, though originally it was for exotic animals and drugs to areas like Russia, Asia, and other parts of Eastern Europe. In the early days of the Kaiju War, he contacted the Pan-Pacific Defense Corps in order to assist with kaiju remain recovery in exchange for a profit, though they ended their affiliation with him 4 years before the events of the original film. After this, he founded the black market organization Kaiju Remedies in order to continue selling and salvaging kaiju parts. And he's able to continue doing this because he has a sole supplier contract with Stacker Pentecost. He's able to go relatively unchecked with his selling and salvaging. In return, he gives Stacker Pentecost military funding and any kaiju parts that have military value. And that's all I'll say on his history for right now. But for anyone who's curious how Hannibal Chau can return, considering he got eaten by a baby kaiju during the movie, I will point out that in the post-credit scene, he is able to cut his way out of the kaiju. So as far as we know for right now, Hannibal Chau is still alive and active. But the question is whether or not he'll return for this movie. And there are two ways of looking at this. The first one being that because the Kaiju War ended in the previous movie, or at least so far as we know, then he really doesn't have any reason to still be active or in communications with the Pan-Pacific Defense Corps. That being said, we do know that the Jaegers will be active in Uprising, so presumably the Kaiju threat will return, which means that there are a few ways to get him back into the plot. But probably the best option to bring him back would be through Charlie Day's character, Dr. Newt Geisler, who is confirmed to be returning for the movie. And in Newt's subplot in the previous movie, Hannibal played a very active role, especially near the end of it. Though it's unclear if Newt would know whether or not Hannibal actually survived being eaten by the baby kaiju since he wasn't around when he cut himself out. But if Newt does know that Hannibal is alive, then he could potentially go to him to get information about new kaiju coming up, since it was shown that Hannibal did have an extensive knowledge of kaiju biology, even greater than some K-scientists like Newt. For example, unlike Newt, he knew that he could keep the kaiju's body lice alive by dipping them in ammonia. But on the flip side, if Newt doesn't know he's alive, then there are other options to get Hannibal back into the plot. For example, if the kaiju are back and now that Stacker Pentecost is dead and his contract would no longer be valid either way, then he could approach Newt in order to create a new contract in order to continue forward with his business. But those are just a few options of how to reintroduce Hannibal Chau back into the story. But what do you guys think? Do you think we'll see him again? If so, how do you think he'll be reintroduced? Well, as always, let us know down in the comments, and like I said at the beginning, if you're interested in hearing more Pacific Rim related videos, hit that subscribe button and the bell next to it so you can be informed whenever a new video goes up. But until next time, this has been Tim from the Hybrid Network, signing out.